everyone, welcome to our YouTube channel. Today in this video, we are going to talk about a concept related to your unit environment, people, development and environment. We are going to talk about the trophic state. So this topic, trophic state, is associated with the types of lakes that you have. What do you mean by trophic state and what are the three types of lakes is something that we are going to discuss in this video. A lot of times we see questions asked from this topic. Trophic state. So the amount of nitrogen, phosphorus and other biological useful nutrients dissolved in the water determine the trophic state of the lake. So you know that is the lake fit or not by looking at the state of the water body. Right, just as you check the temperature and you understand that is the person having fever or not, similarly you can check at the type of the lake or the fitness of the lake by looking at the trophic state of the lake. We use it to estimate the condition, the biological condition of a particular water body. We call it as the trophic state. The amount of nitrogen, phosphorus and other biological useful nutrients dissolved in the water determine the state of the lake. We use it to estimate the biological condition of the lake. This is the trophic state. On the basis of this, the trophic state of the lake can be classified into three manners. There can be oligotrophic, this is the first type, oligotrophic lake. Then there can be the mesotrophic lake. Then there can be eutrophic lakes. When the lake has higher trophic conditions, we call it as what? Hyper-oligotrophic or hyper-eutrophic lake. So we'll discuss about these three first and then we'll talk about the last one. Right? So let us talk about oligotrophic lake first. Oligotrophic lake. So this picture in front of you will help you understand the oligotrophic lake in greater detail. First of all, you see that there is variably a very clear blue water. You see the rocks are less, the sediments are less. In fact, the rock sheets are less and there is not much flora and fauna growing inside the water bed and there is clear water seen here. So this type of a lake is called as oligotrophic lake where there is low productivity due to low nutrients content in the water. So the early water body, the very new water body are basically the oligotrophic lake where there is low productivity because there is low nutrient content in it. That is called as oligotrophic lake. Water of these lake usually is very clear and it is fit to drink. So water is highly fit to be drank. It is well oxygenated and it is cold water. Wahan pe you see a lot of oxygen and it is cold water. It is also found in the colder regions. So this is the oligotrophic lake. Let us quickly revise the traits of an oligotrophic lake. First of all, you see that there is a clear blue water. It is there, the water is very cold. You see that it is there in the colder regions. There is low nutrient content here or the content there and there is low productivity. That is why you see that there is less amount of flora and fauna. Then we have the second type of lake that is called as the mesotrophic lakes. Mesotrophic lake. Now look at the picture again. You see that there is some algae that is there later part in the summertime. There is some sedimentation that starts to build up and there is the flora and fauna and the shallow plants are also present there. So intermediate level of productivity is seen in the mesotrophic lakes. These lakes have medium level of nutrients and it is usually having clear water with submerged aquatic plants, right? So there is some amount of flora and fauna there. The water is not that clear. You see that the water is not as blue as it was in the oligotrophic lake. There is the presence of algae that starts in the later part of the summertime. There are trees, there are some shallow plants growing there and the water is not that visible to you and the water is not that clear. So there is a medium amount of nutrients that are present and it has the intermediate level of productivity. this type is called as the mesotrophic lake. Last, but the most important one is the eutrophic lake. Eutrophic lake and eutrophication are two different things, so you don't have to confuse yourself. Eutrophic lake is a lake, as you look at the picture, where there is sediment buildup which is too high. Plants are there. There are a lot of plants, flora and fauna growing on there, and there is a shallow and murky water that is present. The water is not at all fit for drinking. So the high level of biological productivity is seen in your eutrophic lake. Abundance of plants due to rich nutrients that are present. Nutrients like nitrogen and phosphorus. Eutrophication might occur naturally or due to human impact in the environment in these types of lakes. Now let us distinguish between the two. Eutrophic lake is a lake where there is high nutrients, where you have what? Where you have high levels of biological productivity and abundance of plants due to richness in nutrients. But when it becomes too high, when the nutrients become too high, you call it as what? You call it as hyper oligotrophic or hyper eutrophic lake. One step further to this would be hyper eutrophic lakes. But what would be eutrophication? Eutrophication basically is a process that happens because of which the excess amount of nutrients are seen. So eutrophication happens when excess amount of nutrients are added in the water, and it can cause various harmful effects. Like we have already discussed this in one video. What would happen? The sunlight would be blocked, the oxygen would deteriorate, the algae bloom would be there, phytoplankton would be there blooming, because of which there will be problems and the flora and fauna in the water will suffer, right? Carbon dioxide would increase and your oxygen would decrease. Because of this, the flora fauna will die. And ultimately you see that the water will become murky completely. There will be algae bloom, unfit for drinking, and this process is called as eutrophication. It can be because of the natural causes like the aging of your lake, right? So the aging of the lake is one thing, and the second is the anthropogenic activities, the man-made activities. When we dump waste in the water, when factories, when from farming lands, the waste is added to the water bodies, the nutrients like nitrogen and phosphorus would increase and the water bodies would suffer because of this, right? So I hope this process is very clear. What is eutrophication and what are eutrophic lakes? Eutrophic lakes are the lakes that have shallow and murky water. There is the growth of sediment that is built up. There is abundance of plants. There is rich nutrients present, especially the nitrogen and phosphorus, and there is high level of biological productivity. So eutrophic lake is good, but eutrophication is a bad thing to happen. Let us quickly revise the three lakes that we have. The first is what? The first is the oligotrophic lake. It has clear water. It has cold water, well oxygenated. It is found in colder regions. Low productivity of the plants are there, low nutrients and low productivity is there. Then we have mesotrophic, that's the second stage. There is intermediate level of productivity. Then there is medium level of nutrients and fairly clear and submerged water aquatic plants are there. Then eutrophic lake, high levels of productivity, abundance of plants and animals, abundance of nutrients, especially like nitrogen and phosphorus, and not clear water is not there. Algae starts to bloom up there, but too much algae, when it is there, algae bloom is there, you call it as eutrophication, right? So I hope this is clear. If you have any doubt, you can ask me that in the comment section and I'll surely reply to you. Thank you.